Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So what we're going to learn today is we're going to learn how to divide. So last class period, we learned how to divide with what's called long division. And today we're going to learn how to divide with something called synthetic. Now, synthetic, if you were to look up the word synthetic, which we could do together, synthetic, made by chemical synthesis, having truth or false. So some people like to call this the fake method, the fake way, and it's actually a lot easier than using long division. The problem is it does not work for every polynomial. So that's kind of why I showed you how to use long division first, because unfortunately, even though synthetic is much easier, it does not work for every polynomial. So that's what we're going to be learning today. So I will be doing these guided notes together. And you have a practice and a quiz that you are responsible for. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we talk about synthetic, let's one more time do long division. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to do long division together first, and then we're going to do that same exact problem an easier way, and that's called synthetic. So you will see that we'll get the same result either way, and then we'll talk about some more examples, and then I'll show you some examples where synthetic just does not work. Let's go ahead and get started. So again, this is review from last period. So you're trying to divide 3x to the fifth, and that's a quintic, that's to the fifth power. So you should have 6 terms. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. So it's missing a term somewhere. And where is it missing? It's missing the 4th power term. And that's why you have to put a 0. Okay. Same thing here. If it's missing any terms, that's x to the 1. If you add 1 to the 1, you get 2. This already has 2 terms. So we're going to go through this part a little fast. You start off, you say x times what is 3x to the 5th, and you'd say 3x to the 4th. And I always double check, especially when I'm on video, because it's so easy to make mistakes. Yes, that works. And then I take 3x to the 4th times x. I get 3x to the 5th. And I better switch markers. I'm going to run out of room here. 3x to the 5th. And then I take 3x to the 4th times 2. And that's 6x to the 4th. You then subtract that off. So that's 3 minus 3. That's gone. 0 minus positive 6. It's the same thing as 0 minus 6. So that'd be negative 6x to the 4th. You then bring down the next term. You then ask yourself, x times what is negative 6x to the 4th? Well, x times what is negative 6x to the 4th? That'd be negative 6x to the 3rd. You then take negative 6x to the 3rd times x. That's negative 6x to the 4th. You take negative 6x cubed times 2. That's negative 12x cubed. You take that away. Negative 6 minus negative 6 is the same thing as negative 6 plus 6. Those go away. And then negative 8 minus negative, that becomes a plus. So negative 8 plus 12 is 4. You then keep repeating this process. So then you bring down the next term. You say x times what is 4x cubed. That would be 4x squared. You take 4x squared times x, that's 4x cubed. 4x squared times 2, that's 8x squared. You take that away. Those go away. 4 minus 4. 2 minus 8 is negative 6. See, these things, they take forever. Bring down the next term. You then say x times what is negative 6x squared. That'd be negative 6x. You then take negative 6x times x. Negative 6x times 2. You take that away. Negative 6 minus negative 6 is the same thing as plus 6, so that goes away. Negative 1 minus negative 12 is the same thing as negative 1 plus 12, and so that would be 11. One more. Bring down the 1. Oh boy. X times what is 11x? That'd be 11. I then take 11 times x. 11 times 2. Take that away. And I did run out of room. 11 minus 11, 0. 1 minus 22 is negative 21. That's from my remainder. So then when I'm putting down my answer, I would say this polynomial and remember, you put your remainder divided by your divisor. Well, that was quite a bit. Other questions they might ask, they might say, is x plus 2 a factor? You would say, no, it's not a factor because I got a remainder. It is not a factor unless you get a remainder of 0. So let me show you a much easier way. Very, very easy. It's called synthetic division. And in all honesty, you should not use long division unless you have to. It takes a long time. It's called long. Long is in its name. You should only use it if you really absolutely have to. So here's the steps. So you think about the divisor, and again, this is the same problem. We are dividing by x plus 2. So you ask yourself, what number plus 2 is 0? Well, the number plus 2 that equals 0 is negative 2. So you're going to put a negative 2 here. So some examples, if this was x minus 2, then you would put positive 2. So most kids just memorize it's the opposite. You then drop down the coefficients. So you're going to drop down 3, 0, negative 8, 2, negative 1, and 1. Again, 3, 0, and most kids forget that 0, negative 8, 2, negative 1, and 1. So you're going to drop that down here. So 3, 0, negative 8, 2, negative 1, and 1. Now watch this, so much easier. You bring down the first term. That's a common question I've gotten over the years. Where did that first number come from? You just drop it down. And then I kind of like this. It's a little weird, but mama, it means you multiply, and then you add, you multiply, and then you add. And so that's what we're going to do is we're going to go -2 times 3. And what is -2 times 3? That's -6. That goes here. And this is where kids get so confused because you're going to add up here. Up here you subtract. That's very confusing. And the reason why we're going to add is because we changed the sign of the divisor. So you bring down the first term. -2 times 3 is -6. That's the m. Now we're going to add 0 plus -6 is -6. That goes here. And then I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to take this times this, and that goes here. Well, -6 times -2 is 12. I then add -8 plus 12 is 4. I then multiply. -2 times 4 is -8. I then add 2 plus -8 is -6. I then multiply. -2 times -6 is 12. I then add. -1 plus 12 is 11. I then multiply. -2 times 11 is -22. And then I add 1 plus -22 is -21. Now I want you to look at this and see, look at these numbers. 3, -6, 4, -6, 11, and my remainder. This was way easier. The thing you need to remember is if you start off with the 5th power and you divide out an x, that's going to drop us down to the 4th power. So this number is going to be 3x to the 4th, and then that's the cubed, that's the square, that's the x, and then that's your remainder. Now we can write the answer. It is 3x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus 4x squared minus 6x plus 11 plus your remainder divided by your divisor. Remember, your divisor is x plus 2. And looky there, same exact answer. This took way less time. All right, so we're going to do some more examples. All right. We're not going to do long division the rest of today. You've already learned long division. I've shown you one more example. All we're going to do is synthetic. So you're dividing by x minus 4. So what number minus 4 is 0? That would be 4. So you put 4 here, and that comes from this. You then drop down your coefficients. It's to the 4th power. You should have 5 terms. You only have 4. Something is missing. Which one's missing? The square. So when I drop this down, I have to remember that this is like plus 0 x squared. And where you put that 0 is very important. The 0 must come between the -2 and the -31. So you're going to put 1, -2, 0, -31, -4. The 0 is what most kids forget and why they mess up. So again, I'm going to copy down the coefficients. 1, -2, 0, -31, -4. All right, so one thing that I used to tell kids is if it's to the 4th power, make sure you put 5 spaces, and that way you have everything filled in. From there, this is the easy part, I think. You drop down the first term. You multiply 4 times 1. You add -2 plus 4. You multiply 4 times 2. You add 0 plus 8. You multiply 4 times 8. You add, that'd be 1. You multiply. 4 times 1 is 4. You add, you get 0. So 0, that's my remainder. So if anyone asked, is x minus 4 a factor of this? You would say yes. The remainder is 0. What that means is it divides evenly into that. That also means that 4 is a solution of this. Okay. So my answer now, if I started with x to the 4th and I divide out an x, that's going to drop me down a power. So this will become 1x cubed. Another way you could do it is if you remember the last number is always your remainder. That's your constant. That's your x. That's your x squared. That's your x cubed if you want to count backwards. But this is 1x cubed. That's 2x squared. That'd be plus 8x. That'd be plus 1. And I don't really need to put remainder 0. You could if you want. There we go. All right. Number 3. Number 3. So they do their box a little differently, but I'll be consistent. So we'll go like this. I'll make mine different usually. I'm just trying to copy down this. And then I need a something here. And then it's to the 3rd power, so I need 4 boxes here. Okay. It's always one more than the exponent. So what number minus 3 is 0? That'd be positive 3. You only have 3 terms. You need 4. Which term are you missing? You're missing the x term, so it'd be plus 0x right here. So your coefficients will be 1, -2, 0, -9. And then from there, you drop down your first term, multiply 3 times 1, add -2 plus 3, 3 times 1, 3, add 0 plus 3 is 3, multiply 3 times 3 is 9, and you get 0. So since you started with x cubed divided out in x, this drops down to x squared. So that's going to be 1x squared plus 1x plus 3. Remember, you do not need the 1. You could always just leave it x squared plus x plus 3. So before we go on, we need to talk about so synthetic division, obviously much easier. But it only works for divisors of the form, like it has to be like x plus 6 or something like x minus 6. Okay, you can only use synthetic when they're the simple ones. The coefficient of x must be 1. So if you were trying to divide by something like 2x minus 3, it won't work. There is a way, but it's actually, I think, kind of harder because you have to use a whole bunch of fractions, because you would set that equal to 0, and then the number that would go here would be 3/2, and then you would be multiplying by 3/2 and adding fractions, multiplying. I think adding fractions and multiplying fractions, it would be harder than just using long division. So technically, you can use synthetic on 2x minus 3, but I would not do that unless you love fractions. X squared plus 5, there's no way. Not that I've ever been shown. So if you had something with an exponent, you absolutely 100% have to use long division. So like the other day, let's see if I still have that. looking at our notes from the other day. A problem like this, you cannot use synthetic. You would have to use long. Okay, why? Because the x has a coefficient. Like I said, technically, if you were to set this equal to 0, you'd get -1/2, and then you could put -1/2 on the left, but then you're going to be multiplying and adding fractions. Probably not the best thing to do. So you cannot use synthetic when it looks like this. This one, we could have used synthetic. The number that goes in the box would be 1. When I say box, I mean the number that goes out here. Here, absolutely 100% cannot use synthetic. Okay, it's too complicated. We can only use synthetic if it's like x plus 4, x minus 4, something simple. So if you had this problem, you could not use synthetic, which is why I showed you long division. Here, dividing by x squared plus 5, you cannot use synthetic. X plus 3, that's simple. Use synthetic, it's much easier. X minus 3, you could use synthetic. X minus 5, use synthetic. X minus 2, use synthetic. Use synthetic, the number in the box would be -2. Here, you cannot use synthetic. It's too complicated. Here, use synthetic, that'd be -3. Use synthetic, that'd be 6. Use synthetic, that'd be 2. Use synthetic, that'd be -2. Here, too complicated, you cannot use synthetic. So that's one reason why I taught you long division, because you can't always use synthetic. And if you don't like synthetic, divide everything using long division if you want. That's fine with me. All right. So use division to determine whether x plus 4 is a factor. In other words, is -4 a solution of this? Let's see. So what number plus 4 is 0? That'd be -4. So I put -4 out here. I have to the second power, I need 3 boxes. This is going to be a very simple one. What are the coefficients? 1, 6, and 8. We did not need any zeros. From there, you drop down the first number. You multiply. -4 times 1. That goes here. You add. 6 plus -4 is 2. You multiply. -4 times 2 is -8. You add, you get 0. Now, if you were to list it out, this went from x squared, you took out an x, so it's going to go x to the 1. So the answer is 1x plus 2. But they didn't ask, well, so I guess we could say that'd be 1x plus 2. Remainder equals 0. So is x plus 4 a factor? You would say yes. X plus 4 is a factor. If they said why is it a factor? Well, it's a factor because the remainder is 0. Okay. What that also means is that this factors into x plus 4, x plus 2. which we already knew that because what two numbers multiply to 8 and add to 6? That's 4 and 2. See how everything is connected? It's pretty cool, I think. And then what are the solutions? -4, -2. This one. Is x plus 4 a factor? So we'll put, better use a different color. So what number goes there? We're trying to see is x plus 4 a factor. So -4 goes here. It's to the third power. So I need 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see I have 4 terms. So I'm good. No zeros. 1, 3, -6, -7. By the way, I haven't mentioned this yet, but if they write this out of order, you must put it in order before you copy it down. So like if they had the 6 and the 3 out of order, like if you had -6x and then 3x squared, you have to rewrite it in order. And from there, I mean, once you get the hang of it, you can fly through these. You bring it down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. The remainder is not 0. So then I would say, what's the factor? X plus 4 is not a factor. Why? Why? Well, because the remainder is not 0. So that's synthetic. Okay, the number one common mistake is kids forget to put it in a 0. So on your practice, and there's a whole nother page of problems. If I had more time, I would do it here. Notice, divide using synthetic if you can. Check your answers. So divide by x plus 3. Divide by x minus 1. Well, you could read yourself. So yes, you could use synthetic on all of those. Determine whether x plus 4 is a factor of this. Now, one way you can check your answers is that I'm pretty sure this is the exact same worksheet as last class period. I just changed the wording from long to synthetic. So you should be getting the same answer. So if you don't get the same answers, you messed up. Okay? I do want you to solve this worksheet using synthetic. But after today, if you don't like synthetic and you want to do everything long, you can. But on this worksheet, I must have synthetic. Now you might see some, and we talked about them. And there's one I see on this page right now that you cannot use synthetic. So for today, I just want you to put down synthetic does not work for this, for some of these. So what I'm saying is one of these 4 problems, you cannot use synthetic. So you would just put down, you cannot use synthetic. Like I said, technically you can, but we're not going to, well, I just pointed at it. This one, this one you cannot use synthetic. Okay, because that'd be -4/3. You have a whole bunch of crazy fractions. We're just not going to do that. So that is synthetic, my friends. I hope you have a good rest of your day. It was nice seeing you. Talk to you later.